Hello, people. I'm Jaby KOAY, joined by STEPH.
Hello.
What up, bruh?
What up?
We are looking at Do Indians Know How Their English Accent Sounds by Asian Boss. Thank you, Asian Boss, for allowing us to react to this. Very, very much appreciate it. Y'all, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, bell icon, all notifications, and pretty please vote this up. Let YouTube know you're enjoying what you're watching. I sound desperate, but it's only because I'm trying to fight a burp. And so... And if you haven't already subscribed to Asian Boss as well, there's a link in the description below if you want to click on that link. Give the original video an upvote, subscribe to them from there. Here we go.
Hey everybody, it's Sheetal from Asian Boss. Did you know that English is a very widely spoken language in India? In fact, whenever we do the street interviews, viewers always wonder that why people are answering in English and not in Hindi. So what do Indians think about this? Are they actually aware of how their accent sounds? Let's hit the streets of Mumbai to find out. If
She
you
needs a
had
phone
to
case.
take a guess,
She
what
cracked her phone.
percentage of Indian population can speak fluent English?
Maybe 40% maybe.
If you go into any colleges or school, no one speaks Hindi at all. It's everything related to English itself. So I think that 70 to 80% might know English.
English is, I think, far more important than Hindi right now for Indians. So yeah, I think 40 to 45% around people speak fluent English.
I guess around 75% of Indian people can speak English fluently. Most of them are from South India because they are they are much more educated than the people living in North India. So that's my opinion, and I am myself a South Indian.
Oh, I wonder where you were from. God damn. South Indians are more educated than North Indians. I happen to be South Indian. There's no bias. It just happened to be the same ethnicity as the people that are better.
So that's my opinion, and I am myself a South Indian. So.
By the way, Indian English does have a particular accent. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think it does.
It's actually proper English. So it's not accent, it's proper English, simple.
Yes, pretty much, but it has nothing got any problem with Indian people as such, because that is the way we talk.
So for you, it is normal, right? Your accent.
Yes, it's normal.
Have you noticed that nobody has the same accent in this video? Not one person?
Yeah. It's all a little different.
It's all different.
Yeah.
When you go to, London, so many people sound the same. There's like this sort of uniformity. Whereas with India, I talk to an Indian person here and then I go down the street, the next Indian person speaking English sounds totally different sometimes. And there's such a variety in the accent. And one of the theories I have is it has to do with, I think someone might have told this to me too. So it's not my own theory. It's not inborn. One of the theories that I've heard is that it depends on what they're watching. Because if they're watching a lot of American films, for instance, that's going to impact the way that they speak English because they just sort of naturally adopt it.
That makes sense.
Yeah. This is a weird comparison. Just take it with a grain of salt. I don't mean anything like deep with it. But if you've ever seen Love on the Spectrum, which is based in Australia, all these people who are on the spectrum speak like Americans do. And it's because they adopt the American accent from watching so many movies.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so-
I would say that England is almost similar though in their dialects.
Well, they each, yes. I mean, if you go to one part of Europe or the UK, you're going to hear a completely different dialect. Even within England,
Yeah.
you'll hear different dialects, but there's still a uniformity to that region. At least I think so.
Were you aware that foreigners often make fun of the Indian English accent?
Yeah, it is actually when I have not personally encountered the situation, but my I have cousins who live in the US. They speak that US accent of English, but still they get judged. Like this person looks Indian, and people, I don't know why. It's basically racism, and it's just senseless to me basically.
Yes, I was, but after I went to United States, I thought they spoke wrong English, so I made fun of their English, so it doesn't make any difference to me.
I think our accent is better than theirs because I think they are like not that good. It looks like they are spitting.
I think,
sorry, sorry, not offensive. It
I'm
looks
so
like they are
offended.
spitting, and I think our accent is
I'm
better.
so offended.
No. No. I think they need to learn English from us. It is like when we hear them, we find it funny.
It's lame. I don't really care what they think. Like, I can speak English and I can make other people understand what I want to say. That's enough.
I think he's just being a bit of a contrarian, honestly, because when I was in India speaking English, not one person looked at me like, American accent. Like, not one person did that at all.
Yeah.
But maybe they were just being polite. I have no idea.
Everyone hates American accents.
Everyone just hates Americans.
Yeah.
for some odd reason. Earlier, I had mentioned how Indian English is based in the British system. And so when they say our accent is actually closer to whatever it's supposed to sound like, that is true in terms of like the classic British sound. You know, we are further from it than Indians are.
Yeah, I guess my question would be, is their first language Hindi or something other than English? Because
It depends where you're at.
Yeah, because if so, like in America, in the States even, if your second language is English, your accent is going to be different even though you are American. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
The idea of what's correct or what's not is so subjective.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't really care what they think.
Well, Indian characters like Apu from The Simpsons
That was
have
bad.
perpetuated stereotype in Western culture that Indians sound funny when they speak English. How does that make you feel?
I don't know. I think it's if you watch it, I think it's funny at times, but then it really annoys you a little. Like, you know, you're stereotyping us a little too much. You're taking a little too far. Like, we don't really sound like that at all times. But okay.
Okay, so The Simpsons is the hill I will die on. That is the hill I will fight. I was in favor of keeping, what's his name, as Apu.
I forget his name.
I forgot his name too, all of a sudden. I just know he was in Godzilla. Hank Azaria, I was in favor of keeping him. First off, The Simpsons is not exclusively making fun of Apu. It's not exclusively making fun of Asians. It makes fun of everybody. The basis is making fun of the fat, white, balding American man. That's the center of it. And then you go out from there and you're making fun of everybody, including like the wealthy white guy is Mr. Burns, who's this evil capitalist. Like that is the image they're portraying of the rich white American.
Yeah.
You know, and it's making fun of everybody. Apu is like way down on the list. My experience growing up was Apu. Like that was the guy I knew at the 7-Eleven, or not know him, but like he was the guy I encountered. And that was the accent I heard. Not like to that degree. It's obviously exaggerated. That's what I encountered all the time. And the thing about it is Apu was actually a very intelligent character who made a lot of smart decisions. It just depends who you are in terms of Apu, because it seemed like most Indians in India don't care. And then a lot of Indians over here, it just depends on who you are and like how bullied you were in school with that character. That is the determining factor of whether or not you cared about him on The Simpsons. For me, I didn't want Hank Azaria to step down. I wanted more roles for Indians to come up, if that makes any sense, and not necessarily Indian characters.
Yeah, I think that's the problem with Apu, which is that he was one of the only Indian characters that was on screen. So a lot of people formulated their ideas on what an Indian person is like based on that and what they sound like.
Okay.
So I agree that comparatively, he is the better character in a lot of ways to like a lot of the idiots. But if that's your only representation, there's a problem there, but that's not necessarily with the voice actor.
Yeah. No, exactly. Like to me, what scared me about Hank Azaria stepping down is this move going forward where it's like, okay, only Indians can play Indians. Only white people can play white people. Only black people can play, you know, it's like, that sucks because there are lots of talented people who can do a wide range of voices. Like Phil Lamar is a black voiceover artist. He was also in Pulp Fiction. Did you watch Pulp Fiction? Okay, do you remember the guy who got his head blown off in the back of the car?
Didn't they all get their head blown off?
No, there was a whole thing around that. There's like a whole plot around John Travolta accidentally shoots him in the head.
Oh, yeah.
That's Phil Lamar.
Okay.
I think he was also in Futurama. Excellent voice actor, but you would never know it's him. He's that talented. It would make me so sad if he was only allowed to play black people going forward. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That is funny to you guys, to the foreigners, and it's not funny to anybody in India because that is the way we talk. So, and people understand. That's the main thing.
Sometimes I feel offended, but they exaggerated more, I think. You know, we don't speak like that, firstly. But yeah, I feel offended sometimes.
Very offended, to be honest. I mean, it's funny for some time and like, dude, no, we do not speak like that. Stop doing that.
It's a joke.
Then to you, which English accent sounds funny or weird?
Oh, I think the way Russians speak, I mean the people, those who have their language as Russian or French,
Yes.
those are the weirdest English speaking people around. Seriously.
My brother
like
has been
him.
in Australia and his accent is literally funny. For me, Australian accent is, I really don't understand any of it. Literally any of it.
hard
I
when it's
just
fast,
don't
like-
understand.
Not because of the accent, maybe because of the wrong grammatical use. I find Chinese English quite funny because
Chinese
they
English can be
don't
funny.
use the proper, grammatical things.
Chinese. I must say Chinese. So their language is difficult. That has
When
goes
they
on.
speak English.
Exactly. They even don't pronounce it very well. Their lips even don't open for that.
So why does everybody speak
depends.
English as opposed to the native Indian languages?
In India, I guess speaking English is a trend, or maybe it is like show off or something.
I think if you know English, you have lots of friends, and well, you're cool. You're the cool guy.
I'll say parents. That's it. Because they want the
This
kids
is my favorite guy in the whole
speak
video.
English so that when they go to the school, they don't feel ashamed.
Is that how every child is taught from an early young age?
I cannot say about other childs, but my father, he insisted at my home I should speak my own native language, and he pays good fees for my school. So it's school's responsibility to teach me English. So I don't know how does everyone works, but that's how I was brought up.
Some people feel, not actually most of the people feel that when they are educated in English, they will have higher job opportunities, and then they dream about going to other countries for jobs. And that's the basic reason for them learning English. Otherwise, they would not even be interested in knowing the language.
If you speak fluent English, do people treat you better?
Yeah, in India, yes. I have seen that.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah. When you just come across someone, you have a sort of mindset towards them. As soon as they start speaking, your mindset changes. Like, okay, they can speak English, yeah, okay, they must be like cool, I guess.
And if you're talking before a girl, she's going to be impressed by you. That's the most important thing about talking English.
When you start talking in English, and especially when you're talking really fluently, they give you much more respect than they usually give to other people who are talking in other languages.
Because English is becoming such a dominant language in Indian society, are you ever concerned that traditional Indian languages might disappear?
Yes, it is going on right now. I think even academically, today's generation is taught to speak in English and write English.
Yes, I am afraid of that thing right now, because we, being the youth of India, we shall take care of this thing, that we should not forget our own native language. If this continues, perhaps that day is not far that this will be our national language.
I don't know
No,
about
I'm
that.
not.
What do you think about that? The idea of language is going away.
No, it's not going to. There'll be maybe more and more people speaking a uniform language, and perhaps is English. But I think that if you look at other languages, there's words in other languages that other languages don't have.
Yeah, it evolves.
And yeah, I guess it would have, like, English language would evolve. Still, as a people, most of us value art in some form. And to take away like a word in Japanese, that kintsugi, that encompasses so much more than anything, like you'd need 8 words in English to kind of define it. I just don't see that being eliminated.
You ever watch Cloud Atlas?
Yeah.
You heard how they spoke in the future?
Yeah.
That's true. You know what I'm talking about?
Kind of, yes.
Tom Hanks goes, that's a true.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like languages are going to continue to evolve quite a bit. I mean, you just look at the adoption of, for lack of a better word, Ebonics or Black American English, in terms of like the stereotypical phrases, is integrated into everyday language. It's integrated into our advertisements. And I feel like language is just continually evolving all the time, and nobody has any control over this. It's just culture. You know, it just changes over time. And with that, certain things get lost. Aramaic, for instance, is the language that was used in biblical days. That was the language used in Passion of the Christ. It was entirely in Aramaic, which is nearly a dead language. You know, there's always people who are trying to preserve it and keep it alive. Gradually, with time, I think these things go away in favor of something else. And that's just natural, like any trend. I don't think that's inherently bad. That's just life, you know?
Yeah, globalization.
Yeah.
About it, because we often have many organizations and cultural committees who focus on other languages. So I don't think it is dying out, because there are many people who support it and they want our traditional languages to last forever.
Yeah, I'm a bit concerned, because as I said before, it is like when a child is born, they are taught English first and then the mother tongue. So this is not
that answers your question from earlier.
Good thing for me.
Like even now we are speaking about English, we're not discussing any other language here. So that itself shows how we give English more importance than any other languages.
So if it did disappear, the regional languages, what would that mean for the next generation of Indians growing up?
Well, it would be really bad. I think people from other countries come to India to see the culture and everything, and we might just lose it on the way. So I just hope we don't really, But I don't think it would really go anywhere. We'll continue speaking Hindi, Marathi and everything.
Learn to speak language. Language is really important, but do not forget you come from society or group of people or a different community. Do not forget that. Do not forget your roots.
Well, there you have it.
Don't forget your roots, Steph SABRAW. How's your Japanese going?
That's my grandparents' fault. They came to the US and people were racist. So they're like, we're not teaching them.
I didn't choose this. I'm just saying, like, it seems like a lot of countries speak English because it's like this way you can do business.
Right.
So it all comes down to doing business.
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
My question to the audience is, okay, so there's been this talk of China becoming the next, the superpower of the world, number one. Would you rather speak Chinese? Would you rather speak Cantonese or Mandarin? Or would you rather speak English is my question. And I don't mean that as like dichotomy of Chinese is bad. I just am legitimately asking, what would you rather be speaking?
Right.
And set aside your political biases and all that stuff. My understanding is Chinese language is so difficult that even a lot of Chinese people have a hard time with their own language. I remember I was dating this girl who was half Afghani, half Chinese, and she spoke fluent Mandarin. I remember her remarking about how great Jet Li's Mandarin is. And I'm like, he's Chinese though. Like, why wouldn't his Mandarin be great? But like, even with American English, it's like you have levels to it, right? Now, we only have our limited number of characters. Imagine if you have 3,000 characters.
Right.
The complexities of tone, ma. Those are like 6 different words. What I just said, just based on tone.
Yeah, that's so difficult.
And so I feel like English is the simpler language, maybe, that multiple countries can communicate with. I feel like this is not me speaking from bias. I'm just trying to be objective. I'm welcoming all the comments. I'm not trying to pick a fight here. I'm just trying to think objectively of like, why is this so important? And so, because this deviated away from like, do Indians know about their accent? It like went away into something completely different that I wasn't expecting. Because I was like, oh, this is going to be like a little bit of a ha-ha. And it became like this serious conversation about globalization. I was like, oh, okay, it's got serious.
Yeah, I mean, it shows you how stupid so many of our arguments are and our negative comments about other people can be. Who cares? One girl said, I got my point across, you understand what I'm saying. That is quite literally the point of language. So how we say it, the twang or the accent that you might have that might sound a little different, doesn't mean anything. And so when we spend so much time being like, well, I don't care what they think, and it's like, you shouldn't.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you meant.
Yeah. I suppose as long as you're able to communicate the idea that as long as it's effective. One person was remarking about how the Chinese English can sound funny. As someone who's half Asian, I feel like I can comment on that a little bit. It does sound funny. And there's a whole joke sphere around that. It's called Ingrish. Right? I don't know if the website's still active, but you can go to ingrish.com and you can see signs, t-shirts, lyrics from Japan and China and around the globe. I remember I went to some Chinese shop in Chinatown and it said, do not open the package. And it put quotes around open or package, one of the words. And I'm like, why are you using quotes? I don't even understand why you're using quotes. I know why now. It's like they were trying to create emphasis. They really should have used an underline.
Or an italics.
Italics. Yeah, italics are bold.
Yeah.
But they use quotes. I remember once, I can't communicate the funny in it, but I was trying to assemble my Splitsmaster. It's a stretching thing to get splits. It's in Chinese. And I remember reading the English and I'm just like, it was so disconnected. Like I could, sometimes you're able to sort of piece together an idea. The English was so staccato and broken, I fell apart trying to read it. And so, yeah, sometimes Chinese English is funny. That's the short of it.
Yeah, sometimes there's just truth in things. It doesn't mean it's bad.
I think what you're saying is right. As long as you get the idea across, that's what matters at the end of the day. What appears funny to us is based solely in it not being the normal of our everyday to us. The thing is, like, they're talking about Apu and how he's like exaggerated and stuff. It's like, have y'all seen Indian movies? And the white people in Indian movies? They're pretty exaggerated also. I think we just all get a pass on it. How about that? Let's just be okay with exaggerating shit, and it's hilarious and fun. We can laugh about it together.
The white people in Squid Games were so funny. It was hilarious.
They were awful.
They were the worst actors. It was So funny though.
I
was like, rip us apart, go.
I almost pulled the emergency brake on that show.
Because of them.
Because of them.
They were so bad.
Because they were so awful.
Right.
In their defense, apparently there was a lot of communication errors on set with like what the director wanted from them. And it was like, he's speaking Korean. There's some like rough translation going on. They're trying to get it and the lines are constantly changing. So maybe there's a little bit of a defense there. That's what I'm talking about. It's like that. I experience that. Sometimes I'm watching an Indian film and I see an American or what's supposed to be American. And they're clearly from like Australia. And I'm like, oh God, was this a tourist? Like
howdy.
Yeah. It's just so bad sometimes.
I'm American. It's like, oh, but I think it's funny.
It is funny. That's the thing. It's like, okay, we're allowed to laugh at that. Can we laugh at a poo? Can it all be funny at the same time?
We're not as oppressed as a cult people, but yes, I do think in an ideal world.
Indians are not oppressed over here.
No, but
they're running
saying,
Google. Like, come on.
But I do think that brown people and like Indians, Asians are treated differently in some, not all the time.
It's called respect.
I can't with you.
I'm just joking. Yeah. I'm joking. Go ahead.
No, but I'm just, so I do feel for a little, like, and in terms of lack of representation, to my earlier point, it's like if that's the only person that you're putting on screen to, like, let's say Bobby in Arkansas, and that's his only Indian person he's ever seen on screen, and like he's just, that's it.
Yeah.
I see the problem in that. I think that realistically we should see that it wasn't malicious and the intention does matter in that sense.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I can't. I'm backing out of this. I don't want to debate this right now. I empathize.
I could feel like your energy in this debate, just like feral.
Like we could really go into it, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I do. You guys, thanks so much for hanging out. I'm Jaby KOAY. This is
STEPH SABRAW.
Peace out.